Hi, and welcome to this review of cabin C627 on board Ruby Princess. We booked this cabin for a recent cruise to the Panama Canal, and in this video we'll take you on a quick tour of what it has to offer and give our final thoughts so that you can decide if this is the cabin for you or not. Hello and welcome to our cabin tour. We are on the Ruby Princess and this is cabin C627, which is on deck 10. So as you've seen, I've come in the room using my medallion to unlock the door, which is a really handy feature. It's really great, and we'll show you some other features on there, such as when you want the room to not be disturbed, and also when you want the room to be made up, so you can indicate on the board outside. So the first thing you see when you walk into the room is the walk-in wardrobe area. So as I approach it, there is an automatic light that's going to turn on. And here we have the wardrobe area. So they supply wooden hangers, but you can ask for more on your medallion app. That's very easy to do so, no extra cost. And we also notice Princess do provide dressing gowns, whatever class of cabin you're in, style of cabin, you do get a dressing gown if you ask for it, something you do need to request. Okay, so you've got life jackets up the top here, plenty of storage up here for any extra bags, and down below we just tend to put our shoes and some other bags and luggage. So in this cupboard here, you'll notice there's some shelving units, so you can store your clothes separately or in packing cubes. And we also have a safe. It's not big enough for a laptop, but it's good. It's big enough for your passport, anything valuable you want to secure away. Okay, now in this room here, you have your bathroom. Now I have to be honest, it is one of the smaller bathrooms of all the ships we've been on, but it's perfectly functional. So we have some hooks on the door. We quite like to use our sort of cubes here that are specifically for toiletries. They hold lots of bits and pieces. And inside you have a shower cubicle that's got a curtain. Now don't be alarmed. It is a little bit on the small side, but the water does not come out. Now I spend quite a bit of time in the shower if you're doing your hair, but we haven't had any water coming out of the bottom, so it's really very good, and it's powerful, and it is warm, so it's a good shower, just perhaps a tad small. Now I will say that they do provide shower gel, but the shampoo is a combined shampoo and conditioner, so I do tend to bring my own personal conditioner and shampoo because I don't think this is very good when it's a combined one. Now on the other side you just have a range of shelving, nothing spectacular here, but they do provide the Lotus Spa body lotion and hand soap. Okay, now as you go into the main cabin, the first thing you'll see is a good mirror here. So it's a full length mirror, really good for ladies or gentlemen when they want to get ready and get a good view of what you're looking like. Okay, so then we got on this side here the air conditioning unit. So it's not a digital system, it's a basic system being an older ship, but again it's perfectly functional. So you have the cooler or the warmer setting depending on what you want. Now I will say, if you have the balcony door open, it will stop the air conditioning working. That is a feature that they do talk about quite often. So if you want a cool cabin, you need to shut your balcony door. Okay, next we have the Princess bed. So anybody who's been on Princess before will know that you get a wonderful sleep here. It's a fantastic bed, and I think the pillows, I think they're a bit like marshmallows. They're absolutely fantastic. Really good night's sleep. Now this is made up as a queen, but you can have it into a twin bed. Now the bedside storage is some proper drawers here. So you don't have little cubby holes, you actually have two drawers, which is much better for storing your bits and pieces, and a lamp at the side. Now one thing that is missing from here is any power sockets. So on either side of the bed there are no power sockets or no USB ports, and I'll talk about that a bit later on. So underneath the bed there's plenty of room to store your suitcases, all your luggage out of the way until you have to pack them again at the end of your trip. Okay, now the TV is a smart TV. It's actually really big screen size for the size of cabin, and as you can see the various sections at the side, it's really useful for seeing daily information. So here we have weather, your location, information about the ship, really helpful. And one thing we do love about Princess is they have a wake show. So it's a bit like your morning TV show wherever you are in the world. There's a specific one for Princess Cruises, which is led by the cruise director. So it's good fun. It talks about anything specific about that day and various features around the ship. So we do like to wake up in the morning and listen to the wake show. So you can also have a look at your dining options here. You can book dining options as well. It's not just through your app. And it's one of the best systems we have, sort of TVs that we've seen on the cruise ships. And there's also some free films, so you don't have to pay extra for some of the movies. So one thing we like to bring with us on a cruise are some magnetic hooks. So these are really handy to put on the cabin walls, as they stick to them really quite firmly, and we use them to store away any paperwork, so it's nice and out of the way that you can get to it easily. Some bags and some hats. So at this side of the room you have a dressing table with a mirror above, no particular lighting around it, but there is a lamp at the side. You have a chair and also a cupboard to store some of your bits and pieces, quite deep cupboards there, it's quite handy. One thing you will notice on the wall, you'll be thinking, what on earth is this plastic monstrosity here? Well, believe it or not, it's the hairdryer. Feels like it's something from the 70s. So you do need to unclip it from the holder, and I'll turn it on because it is rather loud. But it does do a job, but it is a little bit, I'm reminiscing here from the old days, shall we say. Okay, now one thing to point out, it is an older ship and the sockets really do show themselves in that way. So all you have are 2 American sockets here, and there's one on the other side of the room, but there's nothing European, and there's no USB sockets whatsoever in this cabin. So it's a bit of a shame, and we did have a bit of a panic earlier on in the cruise because our adapter broke, but our cabin steward came to the rescue and has helped us out with an adapter because the cruise ship doesn't have any even to purchase. And then the opposite side of the room, you have a unit here which contains the cooler. So it's not really a fridge, but it is a cooler to store any bits and pieces. You can have some ice delivered every day if you want, so that would be handy to store in there. And then just some glasses and another area tabletop. And the final socket is up at the top here. The best part of this cabin is the balcony. It's actually a really good size. So to open it, it's very easy. You just lever the handle upwards and pull across. And then outside you'll see we have 2 chairs which partially recline, so it's nice to recline slightly, and also a footstool and a table. So as you can see, it's a really big balcony, lots of room to entertain if you want. So that's our cabin tour. Now you're probably thinking, what do we actually think of this cabin? Well, it's actually fine and functional. It is an old ship, so you do have to understand it will be an old design. So not having the power points and USB points is sort of not really acceptable if it's a new ship, but it is an old ship. But the cabin is well looked after and it's clean. Now in terms of the balcony, you might be thinking with a big balcony, sometimes you lose some privacy. And with this balcony, there is an overhang from above, so you can be further back, so perhaps a bit shaded and more private. But if you want to be right out in the sun, you can go towards the edge, but bear in mind you can also look down on the balconies below, so just bear that in mind. Now in terms of location on the ship, we are towards the aft, we're sort of mid-aft, which is really handy for getting to access to restaurants, some of the bars, and some of the evening venues, so it's really quite handy at the end of the day to get back up to the cabin. So that's our thoughts on this cabin, but what we'd like to know is, what do you think of this cabin? Have you stayed on this ship? Have you stayed in another cabin? What do you think of this big balcony? We'd love to know your thoughts on this as well. So this is a Panama Canal cruise, so we've got lots of videos coming up. So if you haven't already done so, please do consider subscribing to our channel. And in the meantime, stay curious.